Alright there YouTube, we are here at the Gold Jeep yet again. Wanted to talk about something that I forgot in one of my previous videos. The video where I talked about what the steering column and the bench seat came out of, which is a Jeep Comanche. There was another part in there that I had pulled that when I got this steering column that I failed to mention because I just completely forgot and remembered it now as I'm installing it. So first, with the bench seat, you're not going to have the parking brake lever that usually goes on the tunnel. Whether it has a bench seat and the floor shifter or a column shifter, the bench seat's not going to allow for the parking brake cable. But what the Jeep's going to have instead is it's going to have a parking brake pedal. So I grabbed this pedal when I grabbed all the other parts for out of the same Jeep that I got this the column tilt column shifter. I pulled the pedal as well as this panel piece, and we're going to use this as a template to trim the piece that I have on the Jeep because it's the right color, so that it'll work. If you're going to do the bench seat, I would suggest grabbing this piece too, as well as whatever else you want to grab. If it has the steering column with the shifter, grab that too, grab it all. But if you're going to put this in here, this is not a this pedal is not just a plug and play type mod. You're gonna have to do some other stuff. So underneath there's only one bolt that the Comanche and the XJ share that will allow you to mount this thing and line it up, and it's back right there. I'll point at it as best I can. Right there, there's a metal rod that runs down to it diagonally from behind the dash where the steering column kind of mounts up to. It runs diagonally up to that. And there's also there's the nut on this side up under the dash. See if I can show you right up in there, that shiny one that's out of focus and this about the center of the screen. There's two rods that run to that. That one right there runs diagonally to that bolt that you're going to use, and then the other one that's underneath it runs from side to side and connects right back up in there behind that wire, or that one up there. Yeah, so there's the rod, and you'll have to loosen those up probably to get this in here. I had to take mine completely out and then kind of ream the holes a little bit just for some adjustment, because this even though this isn't super thick metal, it's thick enough that it causes alignment issues with that bolt. But you'll have to pull like your fuse panel and manipulate all these wires and stuff to get it up in there, if you got all this stuff in the way anyway, like I do. And then you'll tighten that one up, and then you'll have to align that hole right there, right up in there, and then that one, and I'm gonna have to drill through the sheet metal there, and then use a bolt and a nut to mount this thing properly. Also, if you get this pedal, don't forget to get the little brake release. I just have it off right now for fitting this thing up in there, so don't forget that piece. But those bolts that I'm gonna have to drill are gonna come on they're gonna come out on that side of the the door hinges. It's gonna be and behind the fender, so up inside of here. So I'm gonna have to pull the fender to get back up in there and tighten the nuts. But what I'm gonna do too is hopefully I'll find the right bolts, because I want to try and use the same bolt as what's on that back one. I'll get some flange nuts, tighten it all up after I get it aligned and everything, and I'm going to weld them to the sheet metal and then paint it and everything, but for protection. But so I don't have to in the future, I don't have to use a wrench to take those bolts in and out. They'll just pull the bolt and that'll be it. So that's another piece that you're going to want to grab if you want to do all this stuff, because having a parking brake is good for parking on an incline, because it takes some stress off of the parking pawl in the transmission when you put it in park and you park on a hill. So it's probably a good idea, and plus I think it'll look cool, and it's just something I want to put in here that I like. So don't forget to grab that, and if possible, grab the if it's a short bed, especially short bed Comanche, grab the parking brake cable if it's any good. I wasn't able to do that because the Comanche was literally laying on the ground, and it was hard enough to get all the parts underneath that I mentioned in that other video out from underneath to be able to mount this steering column. But I will either flash across the screen or put down in the comments below the part number that I got. It's for a short bed Comanche Ray Bestis brand parking brake cable. That I'll show you more of that once it comes in. We're going to run it through the stock XJ location underneath the bench seat, and it will be longer, so we're going to have a lot of excess, but we'll run it under the carpet and to the pedal, and hopefully be able to get rid of some of the excess length that we don't need up underneath the carpet and stuff. But I'll give you guys that part number that I found. I bought it off of Amazon because it was free shipping, and I found it on Rock Auto, but I didn't. That was the only piece I was buying, and it was like 11-12 bucks for shipping, so I didn't want to pay that. But anyway, that's it for that. Stay tuned. I will show you more of that. But I wanted to come up here to show you that I did make my bracket. It needs to be trimmed and painted for the overflow. I did not add a tab here yet. I just zip tied it. It's pretty sturdy. It went to that stud I showed you in the previous video, and there's another bracket piece that nipple on the bottom of this goes into, and it's nice and sturdy enough. Once I put a tab there, it's going to be even sturdier. But I also wanted to show you this heat shield that I had talked about that I put in. It's 6-inch wide piece that I had laying around. I trimmed it to the length, which it basically stops there and stops back there, and I used the full 6-inch wide piece. I don't remember what gauge it is. It's like I think 16 gauge or something. Good enough for this. I pulled the I mounted it to where this bracket goes that holds the fuel lines. That bracket, I took it off the fuel lines and then I flipped it around, because typically it goes up underneath the intake manifold. So I just flipped it around, remounted the fuel lines, and then mounted it over the top of my new heat shield, and hopefully that'll block heat from getting onto the fuel lines. I also went as far as to twist that bottom piece as best I could to allow the brake line or the fuel lines back there. I'll still have to mess with it a little bit, but so it'll clear the steering universal there. I bent the edges. I don't know if you can tell, but I bent them in of this heat shield to clear these fuel lines, both in the front and in the back, and it also to clear the shifter cable is right there at the end of my finger. It was kind of rubbing up against it. It is kind of bent out a little bit from this end, but I think it's okay. It's just to block the heat from getting up to this coolant overflow and the PCM, as well as the fuel lines. I kind of was kicking around the idea of cutting the inlet side and running it around the battery up through here, and then using a motorcycle like oil cooler as a fuel cooler and mounting it behind here. But I probably won't go that route because I think this heat shield will keep it cool enough, and plus my system has the return with the fuel regulator, so I don't have the vapor lock issues that the later Jeeps that only have the inlet side, what those Jeeps typically have. I do have some heat shield kit that goes around the injectors and the fuel rail, as well as like kind of a plate that goes and blocks off these holes, but I'm going to wait to install that until we change out this intake manifold and the exhaust. But that's all that I've done now. Stay tuned for more on that brake pedal if you'd like. So if you consider subscribing, it's free. That'll help you know when I get around to doing that, which will probably be as soon as the brake cable comes in. Like the video, and that's it for now. So till next time, y'all take care now.